For decades, the strategic heartbeat of the technology sector was a binary choice: build versus buy. It was a decision based on a clear set of trade-offs. Building software meant total control and customized competitive advantage, purchased at the price of high complexity, massive upfront capital, and long development roadmaps. Buying meant speed, convenience, and predictable costs, purchased at the price of vendor dependency and a lack of differentiation. This framework governed everything from massive enterprise implementations to the way small startups constructed their tech stacks. But we have moved past that era. We have entered a phase where copying and rebuilding digital products is no longer an exception, it is the norm. With the advent of AI code generation and increasingly capable autonomous coding agents, what has already been built can be replicated, refactored, and made AI native at a fraction of the original effort, time, and cost. This reality fundamentally alters the long-standing build versus buy paradigm. The balance has shifted heavily toward build, not because building suddenly became strategically superior itself, but because the economic and cognitive costs of construction have collapsed. Yet this shift comes with a critical clarification that is often overlooked in the rush to automate. In an era where replication is trivial, the real strategic question is no longer whether something can be built, but whether it can be sustained. We are moving from build versus buy to build versus maintain. AI breaks the historical symmetry of the decision. Today, building software, or even completely rebuilding an existing product from scratch, is frequently faster than integrating a complex third-party solution. AI agents can now scaffold entire architectures, generate boilerplate, and refactor legacy systems to the point where integration friction often outweighs development effort. When a developer can prompt a system into existence in a weekend, the buy option, with its lengthy procurement cycles, API limitations, and rigid feature sets, starts to look like a liability rather than a shortcut. In this new landscape, build becomes the default option, while buy becomes a deliberate exception. However, this reveals a more daunting reality. What has become expensive is no longer construction. What has become expensive is the maintenance of relevance. The real question for the modern executive or founder is not, can we build it, but rather, are we willing and able to operate, evolve, secure, and adapt what we build over time? If you can build a product in a week, so can your competitor. The cost center has moved from the initial capital expenditure of development to the ongoing operational endurance of staying relevant in a market that moves at the speed of an AI model. Historically, software products were defensible assets. Complexity and multi-year development cycles created meaningful barriers to entry. If it took 3 years and 50 engineers to build a specific platform, that time lag functioned as a moat. Those barriers are eroding rapidly. The cost of entering a digital market has reached a functional floor. Digital goods can now be recomposed or re-implemented with ease. AI compresses months of engineering into days. As a result, product differentiation decays faster than ever before. You can copy almost anything. Often, using modern AI tools, you can rebuild a competitor's feature set and make it better, leaner, and more responsive. But there is a trap in this ease of replication. Copying produces artifacts. It does not produce continuity, and continuity is where businesses live. An artifact is a static snapshot of a solution, while continuity is the living process of solving a problem for a customer, day after day, as the problem itself changes. AI did not eliminate scarcity, it simply relocated it. When digital artifacts become abundant, value migrates toward the things that cannot be copied instantly or cheaply. Scarcity today expresses itself less in objects and more in capabilities, energy, and endurance. First, consider compute and infrastructure. While code is abundant, the physical side of the AI era remains constrained. Access to scalable, performant infrastructure and the massive compute required to run high-end models is economically and geopolitically gated. This physical reality creates a hard floor for who can compete at the frontier. Then there is the scarcity of effort. AI accelerates creation, but it does not eliminate the need to operate systems reliably. The energy and motivation required to keep building, fixing, learning, and adapting over long periods is a finite resource. This sustained effort is not glamorous and doesn't show up in flashy demos. Yet in a world of one-hit wonders enabled by AI, the ability to maintain the unglamorous grind is a decisive competitive advantage. User experience has also become a harder differentiator to replicate. This isn't because interfaces are complex. AI can clone a UI in seconds. Rather, it's because a true experience is cumulative. It is the sum of interactions across channels and years. AI can replicate screens, but it struggles to replicate how it feels to interact with an organization repeatedly and reliably over time. Finally, there is signal detection. In a landscape where innovations are copied within weeks, relevance depends on continuous interpretation of the market. The ability to read the environment, make sense of weak signals, and adapt without losing organizational coherence is a scarce form of intelligence. It is the difference between reacting to the market and anticipating it.
In this high-velocity environment, the way a business speaks to the world must change. Communication is no longer about broadcasting polished static messages or launching campaigns. It becomes a continuous dialogue. It is about listening visibly, responding meaningfully, and allowing the narrative to evolve with the ecosystem. This dialogue serves two strategic purposes: feedback loops that improve what is built, and trust, which is built cumulatively through repetition and consistency. In this context, listening is no longer a soft skill. It is a strategic capability that prevents a company from building a perfectly executed product that no longer matters. When dialogue is sustained over time, community emerges. A community does not form because of a specific feature set. It forms because people relate to a direction and trust a trajectory. Over time, community creates identity and belonging. It turns customers into participants and increases switching costs without the need for coercive vendor lock-in. This is where branding stops being cosmetic and becomes structural. When you combine communication, services, and trust, you get branding in the sense of economic memory and relational capital. It is the reason why, when two identical products exist, a user chooses the one from the company they know. That sense of knowing is a moat that AI cannot generate. As AI levels the playing field for execution, human talent becomes more, not less, decisive.
However, the type of talent that matters has shifted. We are no longer looking for people who can simply implement a specification. We are looking for individuals who can navigate ambiguity, integrate deep technical understanding with strategic judgment, and shape long-term direction. These talents are scarce and non-substitutable. When anyone can execute, the person who knows what to execute and why becomes the most valuable asset on the balance sheet. We must accept that in the AI era, products can be copied and systems can be rebuilt. If your value proposition is tied strictly to the code you have written, you are standing on shifting sand. What cannot be trivially replicated is continuity. This means sustained user relationships, trust accumulated over time, a living community, and the organizational energy to adapt continuously. Some organizations extend these capabilities into the physical realm, robots and machinery, where physical constraints further reinforce differentiation. But regardless of the medium, the pattern remains the same. AI collapses software-only moats, while endurance restores them. The AI era does not eliminate the need for strategy, it sharpens it. The decisive question for any leader is no longer whether you can build something. Almost everyone can, and soon almost everyone will. The real question is whether you can maintain it, evolve it, and make it matter over time.
If your answer to the question, "What is our competitive advantage?" is simply the product, then your model is already obsolete. But if your answer includes the quality of your experience, the depth of your dialogue, the strength of your community, and the caliber of your talent, then you are building a business, not just software. Build is now the beginning, not the destination. In the age of AI, the winners will not be those who build the fastest, but those who can endure the longest.